I think we're live. Can you hear me? How's that working? Is it working? Check, check. Oh, there it goes. A tone clamp. Check, check. Let me know. Oh, shit. Is this not going to work now? Check, check. Is this not going to freaking work now? Check, check. Come on, Clampy. Check, check. I'm not liking the sound of that. Hold on. Check. Oh, shit. Check, check, check. Yeah, it's this thing. Check, 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 check. There we go. Come on, Clampy. Check, check, 1, 3. Yeah. Check, check, 1. Okay, that seems to be working. Man, now I can hear myself, but I was getting no audio, just barely. I mean, I could hear it, but it was really low. Feels like it's dropping again, but maybe not. Check, check, 1, 3. Yeah, it's working. You could hear me? That's weird because it should be going through. Right? It's a master. If it's going through the system, I should be able to hear it. All right, because it goes out of an SPDIF. I can hear it now, though. All right, hold up. Where am I? Hold on. Right there. Let me just check this real quick. No, that's good. That's good. That's out. Thought I heard it. Tiny bit. I mean, like just... Yeah, that one too. And that one too. Come on. Come on, I just had you... Oop. I just had you tuned up. There we go. A little bit there, a little bit there. That should be good. Hold on. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. That'll work. It's within acceptable parameters. It's all in the clamp. See, now it sounds loud to me. Exactly. Don't fail us now, Clampy. This is all your fault. All right, I think we're going. Yeah, that's working. All right, here we go. Who do we got? Gary, Tony, Z-Raker, William Franz, Trolls, Matt, Frank C, PK, Assad, Vincent, Daryl, David, my super lead, Tony, if I didn't say Tony already. Yeah, it's called the Task Clamp. That's the Tascam branded clamp. What's up, Speaker? And Ian. If the tempo was live, it'd probably still be using it. Probably. What's up, Deanna? Kane Dane. Overlord. Yeah, that's working. Oh man, it's been a crazy week. I think when I think last week I mentioned to you that it was raining in my downstairs bathroom where the laundry is. Just like water just pouring out of the friggin' ceiling. I had set up about a half dozen pans to collect it all. Oh, I figured it out. It's the laundry. If it's really cold out and there's snow on the roof, and my wife does, let's say, 3 super hot bleach loads in a row, that heat goes up the pipe enough, and it's a metal pipe. It goes up enough through the pipe to warm up the outside and warm up just enough where it joins against the... It has never leaked. But it was the laundry. And I said, you got to stop doing laundry. And sure enough, it took 12 hours, but it did stop raining in there. And I said, if you're going to do laundry, you have to do it either one, when the temperature outside is over, say, let's say 40 degrees, and or there's no snow on the roof, or you have to use what we call this. There's like hot, warm, eco-warm, cold, and tap cold. I go, just stick with tap cold. We're fine. Back in the 70s and really into the 80s, pretty much every detergent manufacturer came up with a cold, formula that would work in cold water because people wanted to save money and they didn't want to use warm or hot water. And so they needed to have a detergent that worked even in like literally cold tap water. So it works. You don't really need hot water, except with the bleach load, you're really supposed to use hot water. So I was like, just stick with tap cold, and we should be good. And we have been. She's been using tap cold. It has not resumed. No, it won't go in spring because it needs the ice to push it apart. Right, what happens is that it melts just enough, but then it freezes in that it expands on the inside, right? Because it goes through a cycle. It's warm enough where it's melted, and then it freezes and pushes it open. Like literally since we switched to the cold water, even though there's plenty of snow up there, even though it's still I think it's 17 degrees out right now, nothing. It's all, the waterworks is turned off. And I don't see it really coming back on until we make the same mistake again. Yeah, it's it's an ice dam. Exactly, Laundry Rules, new song idea. Can I reach the pipe easily with a snow rake? Yes and no. There's so much snow in the backyard, and I think the snow rake is, it's, somewhere in the garage. I'd have to dig that out somewhere. So it's really not feasible right now. I was going to go out there with, I thought about hooking up a hose to my water heater and going up to the bathroom window and hitting it with the hot water and just clearing like all the snow out around it. But then the waterworks turned off by the morning. And I said, nah, I'm not going to do that because, on the path you take to avoid, sometimes, you find your destiny. Sometimes, right? You sometimes find your destiny in the path you take to avoid it. Not bad. Steve, you look great after NAMM. I didn't go out and get a good steak. I only had a couple burgers, but, you do a lot of walking. That is a way of, trimming weight. doing 15 to 18 kilometers a day. Just had to search what a snow rake is. It's funny because I think it was Christmas 2014. I got a snow rake for Christmas, and we had no snow. And I said, I don't think we're going to get really much snow. We haven't had any snow. We're not going to get any snow. And at the right after NAMM 2015. We had the snowiest winter on record, I think 110 inches in 6 weeks. So, not only was I using the snow rake, everyone in the friggin' neighborhood wanted to borrow it. They saw me out there with the snow rake. They're like, oh my God, can I borrow that rake when you're done? I'm like, you can. And it had been so cold and powdery, and, we probably had 4 feet of snow on the front porch roof, but it was light snow, but they were calling for heavy rain. And I was like, oh my God, that's going to soak it up. I'm going to have like a freaking collapsed roof. So I had one of those snow throwers. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like, it looks like a shovel, but it's actually electric. And my God, that thing worked amazing. I just leaned out the window with the snow thrower and just raked it across the friggin' roof, and it was blowing it right over it had like a little fencing. Fencing's gone now. But back then I had the fencing. It blew it right over the fencing. No problem at all. And I just leaned out the 2 front bedroom windows. I probably got, 60, 70% of the snow off. I didn't feel like going out there and doing standing out there. Wasn't that comfortable that it was safe. So I just leaned out the window. But it worked really well. It had a long handle. And I used it so much, I wound up sort of breaking the blade, which luckily they make the part that spins the blade stronger than the blade, and it's so that the blade had cracked, and so it would it wouldn't keep up. If you hit heavy snow, it would just jam. And then I think 2 or 3 years ago, I went online and I found the replacement blade. It was like $20, and I replaced the blade, and it works great now. But It's been snowing all day here. It's bad luck to put the snow rake away too early, I know. I know. You're just jinxing yourself there. I know, that was 10 years ago. And I had a picture. I don't know if I could find it, but I had a picture of a backhoe on the top of a snow mound. That backhoe looked like, here's this big giant snow mound, and there's this like tiny backhoe on the top of it, because as they were pushing snow up to it, it was like raking it up. They couldn't get it. They couldn't go high enough to get. So they had the guy just drove up to the top of the friggin' snow mound and was like raking it towards them. I was like, man. I thought about the leaf blower on full blast, but it was too frozen. By the time I was going out to do it, it was like 1 degree Fahrenheit. It's at like minus 17 C. So it turns into just a frozen block, with those temps. I waited too long to do it, and then it just completely froze. And there was a big, where the house was, there was a big chunk of just straight up ice. I said, you're going to walk out there, you're going to slip on that friggin' ice. You're going to either hurt yourself or fall off the roof. I was like, no, I'm fairly risk averse at this point in my life. I know I can, this had absolutely no fret sprout, but I can feel it ever so slightly now because the dew point has dropped so much. Dew point was like 25, 30. Now the dew point's like, 5? Then I head down to like -5. That's dry. That's some pretty seriously dry air. Yeah, let's sit right now. Yeah, dew point is 5. By 8 o'clock it'll be 2. By 9, 0. By tomorrow morning, -6, -7, -8 Fahrenheit. That sounds good. That's in tune. What's up, Demon? Yeah, I think we're going to get a slight warm-up. What are they saying? Where are we now? 10 day. Ooh, we might hit 38. Again, that's Fahrenheit. That's just a tick above freezing. Yeah, 38, 35, 36. Oh, it's downright balmy. And then they're saying a week from Monday, it's going to be 42. That's probably the first time we've hit 42 in at least a month. Exactly, it's a goddamn heat wave. Yeah, I like this, I like the Charvel. Nothing wrong with Charvel. It's nice. People were saying, oh, I can see the lines of the wood. But, I feel like it's the same people that say, I don't like a big, thick polyester coat. It's like, well, they went thin skin, but you can see the grain. I don't like the look of the grain. You can't win. It reminds me, my Strat is like that because they use what they call a thin skin. And they're like, let's the guitar breathe. I'm like, oh, really? It feels just like a cost-cutting measure on your part, so you don't have to spray as much undercoat, and save a little bit of money. I had thick poly coats in some guitars I thought sounded great. My Kramer, and that's got like a super thick poly coat on it, what they would call their diamond coat, and it has lasted. It was very strong, and has kept that guitar pretty clean. What's up, Rockin' Rob? You got all the rooms heated with freestanding heaters? Well, no, we had a furnace installed. Did you miss that, dude? Did you miss the whole furnace installation episode? We had that installed December 16th. But it did cost us between November 30th and December 16th, $600 in electricity. So probably not a good idea to run 6 space heaters. Exactly. Who's actually seen a guitar suffocate? People buy into the hype. Your furnace has been cutting on and off again? Yeah, God, I'd be losing my mind if we hadn't had that installed. Because it has been so cold. We're getting like the coldest blast of air this winter, like between like today and tomorrow. So I'm glad I have it. Because it's about 25-30 cents on the dollar for the same amount of BTUs as resistive electricity. So, an electric heater, $100 in electric heat costs about $25-30 in natural gas. Now, could have been the double neck. Now, PRS posted a double neck recently online. No, the furnace has been working great. Got that furnace installed done pretty cheap. Yeah, it was $7,500. So, and he had to bring in 2 people. He brought in an electrician. They can take it apart, but they can't wire it up. So they kill the power, and they can remove the wires off the old furnace, but they really can't install the new wires. So he brought an electrician to do that, and he had a pipe fitter come in to do the gas pipes, because he just doesn't want any nonsense about not having licensed professionals to do what might need a licensed professional to do. Going back to NAMM, did you find some new guitars you might share with us? Well, I don't really have much still photos from NAMM, but I did do 3 walkthrough videos. You might want to check the walkthrough videos, because that's pretty much my NAMM stuff. But, Fender wasn't there. Gibson was there, but not really. They were just kind of had a display out in the hallway. Ibanez always has a nice big booth. They were there. Marshall was not there. And, last year Marshall probably spent $500,000 to have that booth, plus all those people there. So you have to say, what is it really worth it? You know, a good-sized booth will cost you $150,000, $200,000. That's a lot of money. 100,000 here, 100,000 there. Next thing you know, you're talking real money. Yeah, Fender, you know, and a lot of people do this. A lot of companies will do this. Fender had an off-site location that you could go, but yet it was invite only, and I wasn't invited. I'm not in with Fender for whatever reason, despite me playing their guitars since '81. Though I'm not on the list, so I didn't get to go. But a lot of dealers who don't want to pay that money will rent out a suite. It's cheaper to rent a suite, and either the Hilton or what's the other one there? It's the Hilton and I can't think of it. The other hotel. They're right there, like literally right at the show. Like you can walk across like literally right there. And it's cheaper. And NAMM's been trying to crack down on it, but it's like people can rent rooms and say, meet us up at suite, 15, 20. Come in and check out what we have, and they'll have a little display, and they do it by appointment. And it's probably a tenth of the money. Yeah, no, it's all union, so like they don't want displayers driving around those forklifts, right? Because they don't really have experience. So they bring in union guys, and that's not cheap. And you can't run your own electricity. And the electricity is up in the in the ceiling. So someone has to show up, a union guy, go up on a big ladder, connect up to the voltage that's up there, run a line down to your booth. And that all adds up. Even a buddy of mine had a small booth with no electricity. He didn't really need it. Maybe the tiniest bit of electricity, and that was $5,000. And that was 10 years ago. And he would split it. He goes, I can't even really afford the $5,000. He would split it with someone else, to save money. And, it's only gone up from there. Yeah, the Marriott. That's the other one, the Marriott. So they'd rent a room in there and go and see people there. And I know. How dare they, exactly. Why do they charge so much money for their booth at NAMM? Because they think they can get it. But, you have enough people back out, and then you have to start rethinking it. I guess it was in 2017, 2018, they opened up that new building. And that opened up a lot more floor space. And, that place used to be packed. But now you add a whole nother building with 2 more floors that are almost as big as one of the halls in the main building. Maybe not quite as big, but still pretty damn big. And, that pulls a lot of, people away. I think all the pro audio went over there. Like all the software people went over there. A lot of the, recording stuff, like mixers and things like that, went over there. And then a lot of those people were like, nobody comes over there and looks at our stuff. So they want to be back on the main floor, and we can't, that's not the right area. So, last year they had 5 halls open, plus the building, which is 2 more halls. That's 7 halls. And this year in the main building, they closed one of the halls because they just didn't have people to fill it. It was going to be a ghost town. And if you went into the main one, a lot of those walking aisles, were double the width, right? Instead of a 40-foot width, it was like an 80-foot width, like just enormous. I'm like, wow, this does look a little open right here, you know. Love the applause. So that's the first day, and that's at the Ibanez booth, because they're giving their big rah-rah speech in the morning. So that's happened several times, where I've been there at like, I got there at like 7 in the morning, 7:15. And that's when I saw Ola, because Ola had the same idea. I'm going to get there at like 7 in the morning to do my vlog and not have to fight with a bunch of people. Well, while I'm walking around, you know, Ibanez is in there going, we're going to sell, man. We're going to do this. And, you know, let's talk. And this guy had an amazing year. Everybody's like, yeah. And this guy, and we're going to do this. So it's interesting. You never been to NAMM? What's so funny is, oh no, NAMM has to, NAMM has to rent the space from the building, also known as Starfleet Academy. They're like, why don't you like the new Picard? I'm like, because Starfleet Academy is at the goddamn NAMM show. It's hard to break that, you know. It's hard to buy in. When I'm like, no, I know this building. I've been in this building many times. It's the NAMM show. And Bobby is in the food industry, and he's gone to that same building for food shows. So it's, you know, it's not just, NAMM doesn't own the building, as far as I know. I can tell you this much, Tony. I had a friend who always wanted to go to the NAMM show. And he said, damn it, I'm going. And he flew into a friend's place and was staying in, I think, L.A., and they drove out a couple of days for the NAMM show. And he kind of stuck with me, and we walked around. And after about 2 hours, he goes, it's pretty much like any other trade show I've been to. I said, pretty much. It's pretty much a trade show, yep. Pretty much. Because, you know, he was in, he was vending machines. And so, you know, you go to trade shows for all types of, you know, there's all kinds of crazy vending machines. You know. Feel like you saw NAMM with your videos. You kind of did. Certainly the guitar booth. Now, there's a lot more walking around. I mean, I could go into the, you know, the brass and woodwind section, the drum section. There's a whole, like, synth and keyboard section. That's where Ilio is. But I haven't seen Roland there. You know, Yamaha was there, but they're up on, I want to say, the second floor. And, you know, Yamaha used to be like rent the ballroom at the Marriott. And you used to go see them over there. But that goes to show you how big the show used to be. Because Yamaha would rent. And that was all under NAMM, right? So NAMM was still getting paid, I think, you know, some you know, a little bit to do that. And I think I was there might have been one of the first years that the Helix came out, right? Because the Helix is under the Yamaha umbrella. You know. Is it just real estate? I think they do more trade shows. Like I said, Bobby has gone to a food show there. I think many times. So I think it's trade shows. You know, it's an enormous building. And, you know, it's a big open floor. It's pretty much designed for trade shows or Starfleet Academy. Now, a lot of people really like Guitar Summit because Guitar Summit is silent. You have to play everything through headphones. There's no loud amps, nothing like that. There's another show, I think, in Europe, not Guitar Summit, but a different one, and they're sort of 50-50. They do a couple of hours where you can make noise, and then they do a couple of hours of silence, and they go back and forth between the two. But NAMM is just completely noisy. They used to walk around with dB meters and, you know, shut people down if they just couldn't keep their amp volume down. You know, there was this guy who worked for Supro. Good player, nice guy, but he had a thing about cranking it up. And we went to GitCon 2, and this dude, I was like, man, you cannot crank this up in here. We're trying to shoot videos. And there was no talking to him. And you know what? I realized he was going to do that no matter what, because I went to the amp show in Boston up at, there was like a ballroom. I want to say it was in Waltham, you know, something like that. And I went up to the amp show, and he was there. And they rented out rooms. It's like an open floor plan. It was a, what's that big hotel with the big open floor plan there? Oh, I can't think of it right now. I think it begins with an E. But they have a pretty wide open, right? All the rooms you can see way up, and you know, there's, I mean, it's indoors, but it's like this big open central like place. And he was up in a room, and he had that freaking amp. So I could hear it as soon as I walked in. That guy from Supro, he had that thing cranked, and he's like, they were telling me to turn down. I'm like, oh did they? You know, he's like, I don't care though, and these people showed up. I think they were gonna have like a wedding shower or a baby shower there. And I remember being up on that first like floor, right? And Embassy Suites, that's exactly what it was. And I remember being up on that first floor, and that dude, the noise coming out of his room was so loud, and these women looking up like is this how this is gonna be? Like losing their minds. Like, what the hell is going on? And I felt bad for him because there was no talking to that guy. He was convinced he had to crank that friggin' Supro up to the max. Embassy has a decent breakfast and happy hour compared to most others. I agree. Some friends of mine always stay at the Embassy Suites because they you know, they have the points, right? They're on like the Embassy Suite Club or whatever. So they go, that's where they go. I want to say it was in Dallas. I think Robert Baker was with them. And he was like, dude, you should just Uber up to us and come to our free breakfast. He goes, we'll just all walk in together. And that's exactly what happened. I went in there, free breakfast. I was like, thank you. I think there was a free breakfast at my hotel, but it wasn't as good. Did we talk about Joe Bonamassa's scary troubles with hearing in December? Well, if you crank up an amp enough, you're going to hurt your ear. Now, you can see where that amp is back there. Like on the floor there, the old couch used to be a lot shorter. So I used to have, there was an amp over there I used to have on the floor, and this desk I'm at here used to be kind of like right there. I'm going the wrong way. Right there, where the TV is on the wall there. I used to have a desk in the front of the window. And I got, I forget if it was the PV Viper, or I had some new amp. It might have been the PV Viper. And, you know, I just loved that thing, and I was playing through it and cranking up, and all of a sudden I realized, like, my left ear, the ear that was facing it, everything that came through it was just distorted, just crackling. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And what I wound up doing is running out and getting earplugs, and just putting an earplug in that ear for like 2 weeks, just to make sure I insulated it from loud noises. Because, you know, I had little kids, and they'd scream and yell, and there'd be loud sounds at any time. And so I had to just make sure. And sure enough, it healed. It was fine. But I was real careful after that. Did I miss my Jimmy Page interview? No, he blew it off again. Lousy drunk. I get to see any big bands like Billy Corgan? No, didn't go to anything. No. I was gonna go to it was $200 to get into the Corgan event, and that wasn't happening. I'm not dropping $200 to go to that. I'll go drop $20 on a burger and go to bed. And then Friday night, they were doing the Aussie tribute and all that stuff in the arena. I was going to go to that, except I had to leave a day early. And so I wound up just going back to the hotel and packing and going to bed like super early at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. So I could be up I think I had to be up at 4 a.m. to get a 5 a.m. Uber, which I barely got because Ubers kept canceling. They're like, oh, the airport? No, I don't want to go there. And pissing me off. I finally got a woman who I tipped generously. She probably got a $50 tip out of me because I think I tipped her $30 in the app and I gave her 2 tens. So yeah, it's $50. Yeah, I mean, if it was free, I probably would have gone to the Corgan thing. But it was $200. I'm like, $200? That's a lot of burgers. No. That's like $200. That's like 5 waters. The water there is stupid expensive. Well, like anything, you know, does NAMM have to think about lowering their prices? You know, everybody works on incentive. You get enough people to drop out, and you will see prices lower because they have to. And, you know, they should really look at price elasticity because all they would have, because a lot of time, so, you know, the NAMM show used to be 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. After the pandemic, they went down to 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So, like, my friend was like, okay, so it's going to be 25% less, right? Because you're renting the hall for one less day, right? And they're like, oh, no. No, it's still the same money, even though you have one day fewer to display. So, I think there's a lot of griping going on there with the vendors. I think the vendors they're starting to say, you need us more than we need you. And all we have to do is just skip it every year, and maybe you'll come to your senses. Or it'll wind up like Music Mess. Now, Music Mess died because they felt like they weren't making enough money, and they opened it to the public. You know what the public did? They stole a bunch of shit. And then vendors didn't want to go there because things would get stolen. So now Henning got his whole camera rig stolen from Music Mess. What a mess. You start, I had heard that they were thinking about, they would do that in the Nashville. They would have a public day, and it would be busier, and they could get some money in. But vendors hated it because they felt like, it was more of a security risk. So there's been talk of doing it, NAMM. Some people said there are like some guests there. But I think if I went again, I would probably maybe go a day early, go there on Tuesday, and still come home on Saturday. Because I don't want to be there for Sunday. I think everybody's leaving on Sunday. It's hard to get anything. And I would still leave a day early. Get there on Tuesday. That way I would have all of Wednesday where, they're in the building because they have to be there on Wednesday to set their booths up. And I would have an exhibitor pass. It's funny because I have a friend at, I needed an exhibitor pass this year. Rev, who's always been good to me, they didn't have as many passes this year because they were splitting a booth with a bunch of other vendors. So when you split a booth, you all only get X amount of, passes, exhibitor passes. And so he just didn't have one to spare, and he got me an artist pass, which is great, and I really appreciate it, but it doesn't get me there before opening. So I reached out to Ilio, and I said, hey, any chance you can get... They're like, we want to meet you at 9 a.m. I said, I would, but I don't have an exhibitor pass. They're like, we'll get you one. And they did. Within 24 hours, they had an exhibitor pass for me. So my buddy at FERC heard that. He's like, you need a pass and you don't call me? Oh, you need a pass. You call me. I will get you a pass. Oh, how dare you? I said, okay. He goes, we had so many passes. He goes, the money we spend on this friggin' place, I would happily give you a friggin' pass. I'm like, oh, I understood. Okay. Good to know. Is AI going to slow down NAMM sales? Well, it could, because people that were, buying, a lot of music creation items, things like keyboards, guitars, and all stuff like that, you don't need it. It's just much easier and faster just to go to AI and have it whip it up. In fact, speaking of that, let me play you a little something here. So I had a friend over yesterday, and he's fascinated with the whole studio part of Suno. So he never wants to just enter a prompt and make a song. He's like, that's boring. He's like, what I really want to do is, have it do something and then rip it apart and then add more parts and just, kind of see what it can do. So, where did we put that? No, I got to find it. Hold on. Where was that? Yeah, here it is. So what I wound up doing was I sat at the keyboard. We tried to record it directly from my keyboard to Suno, and it just did not work. It was all like garbled static, and I said, I don't think you can hear it. I said, maybe I haven't allowed it to like listen to them. I don't know what was going on, But we just opened up Reaper, recorded it in Reaper, which is a smart thing to do because then it trims it down, right? You can trim down the output so that there's not a big space before. I think I have, do I have the actual, is this it? Yeah, this is me playing. Right, just an electric piano. Right? Right? To F. Little blues. That's not really, it's kind of like a free time. We did that on purpose. And then I think to a G dominant. I mean D dominant. D dominant to a G, like sus dominant. Right? So I said, that's literally on Suno. We uploaded it. And so I said, turn this into a song about my car broken down. About like, right? My crappy car is broken down, and it came up with On the Shoulder.
Steam from the hood, phone at 2%. Map says 20 miles. Heart says this is it. As it's blinking slow,
Have it big as snow.
like a tired heartbeat. Boot on gravel dust, cold
Beautiful.
in my teeth. Car broke down on the shoulder. Guess the day just called my bluff. All my plans getting older, while I'm stuck here with this rust. But I'm still here, still sober, kicking, dancing to this love. Car broke down on the shoulder, but it didn't break. You lie in the dark, looks like fate's on strike. We split one warm drink from a paper cup lid tonight. Truck lights rolling past, paint you golden, gone. You lean into my arms, say, hey, at least the view's not wrong. Car broke down on the shoulder. Guess the day just called my bluff. All my plans getting older, while I'm stuck here with this rest.
Kind of reharmonized it a bit.
But I'm still here, still closer to the things that really matter to us.
Yeah, the AAA blues.
On the shoulder, but it didn't break us.
Car broke down on the shoulder, but it didn't break us. Bridge.
Maybe this is what we needed. For us to see and feel the all the miles we chased for meaning ended up right here on the side of this old crack street. Car broke down on the shoulder. Guess the day just caught our bluff. All our plans getting older.
Beautiful. Tony, this will be up on Patreon soon enough. He's my only subscriber.
Still here, head on my shoulder, laughing at this busted love. Car broke down on the shoulder, but it didn't break.
Right, and it goes to minor F, right? The 4 chord to the minor. I mean, it's pretty common, man. What a great job. It's good, but it's no pickle, of course not. What is though? Beautiful. Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah, the minor move, right? The 4-chord from major to minor. It's nice. I don't know. Yeah, blacktop, exactly. I'm looking down on the shoulder. Oh. What's the line? Yeah. Come look down on the shoulder. Yesterday just called my bluff. I'm starting with the run. Little minor change, nice. Love it. You think Taysom? Well, you know, we put in what we wanted. Again, when it's going off that little blues thing I put in, so it's based on that. We said write a song based on this. But you can have it write all kinds of crazy stuff. You know what? I would say what you realize is that there's so many musical genres out there, because I would say like 80% of the songs I hear on Suno in the open space where people just publish songs up there, I can't stand them. It's a lot of techno pop, right? Or it's like real, like, you know, some of the punk can be good, especially when they use British vocals. It sounds kind of authentic, right? Yeah, right, yeah. You know? Fist fight! Fist fight! Fist fight in the parking lot! Like, you know, you know, some of it can be good, but I'd say 80% of it is just absolute freaking garbage. And, you know, I like I like melodies. I like good singers. And, you know, get out of the friggin' 90s. It's like, I really hate the whole, like, you know, try to make it sound like shit. So you don't make it look like you care too much. It's like, well, I kind of do care about it. Yeah. Hello. PK says he generates melodies and play along. Same with me. And you know, you learn a lot about songwriting because they're synthesizing all the most popular songs. There was a thing, yeah, I'm sure you've seen, was it like the Axis of Awesome or something like that? That they did it's probably got 100 million views. Those guys, they basically went through about 20 songs that are all the same friggin' chord progression, but they're very different songs. It all depends on that's why you can't copyright a chord progression, because it's sort of the same thing over and over and over again. They said that something like 20 of Taylor Swift's top hits are, you know, a 164, right? Or a 1/5, probably 1/5/64, right? Oh, the key of C. Well, that part I uploaded was in C. So they follow the key. But it depends. I could literally tell it the key I want it in. Like if I knew I was going to have horn players, I'd probably tell it in the key of F or the key of B flat, just to give them a break. So you can do whatever you want, but on a guitar, you want all sharp keys. E, A, D, G, B, you know, all the sharp keys. Look, Beato, John Bukovac often rail about all the 1.5/6/4s. Yeah, and similar. Yeah, you know, listen, it's a formula that works, that people know. And you know, it's there's a reason why people use it, because audiences are familiar with it, and as long as you come up with a nice new melody and some clever lyrics, like broke down on the shoulder. There you go. God broke down on the shoulder. I don't want a neck to be like butter. No, I never got that. You know, I often treat that with an air of suspicion. I don't know why. But when I hear it plays like butter, you know what the first thing I think to myself is? You don't know shit about guitars. I swear to my immediate reaction is like, oh, that's written by a non-guitarist. It plays like butter. You mean Buddha? You finding peace? My background is in wild Irish fiddle music. All right, let's whip up some wild Irish fiddle music. I'm just going to do that. Wild Irish fiddle song about loving wild. Gotta spell it right, or they won't know what I'm saying. Irish fiddle music. Let me just make sure if you spell a word wrong, it can't seem to figure it out. Wild, yeah, I didn't have a space between fiddle and song. Wild Irish fiddle song about loving wild Irish fiddle music. And make. This will take a few minutes. About loving a wonderful pat of Irish butter. The title, I can tell you already, they title it very quickly, is called Wild Fiddle in My Blood. Yeah, we can guess the key. When it did my Christmas song, it did it in a bunch of different keys. It wound up going with A for the one that, and I didn't tell it that, it just chose A. The one with the girl singing was D. So, and then, but I could tell it any key. I didn't tell it the key. Maybe when you don't tell it the key, it just defaults to C. Who knows? It's still processing. It's going. It's chugging. Yeah, it could be open G. Man, I feel like I'm out. I gotta check. We have time while that's chugging. Let me just check this real quick. Oh, yeah, see, that's just a touch flat. So my my reef buddies out there, did you see that Live Aquaria filed bankruptcy? I got to figure out what to do with all the livestock they have. We'll see what happens there. Apparently, a company bought them a couple of years ago, and they didn't really do a good job shipping. So they had a lot of casualties in the shipping process. And, you know, they really lost a lot of customers because they were always blaming the customer for the dead fish that showed up. And they really started to kill their rep. All right, this is called Wild Fiddle in My Blood. D. It's, who am I thinking of? Not Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. The other one. Stop with the AI bullshit. Fuck you. I love this. How's that? Sure. Dropkick Murphys. Let's face it, Rick, it's better than anything you'll ever write. Strap that on. Yeah, Dropkick Murphys. Well, it sounds like all the bands you've heard in this genre. Dropkick Murphys, like you said, Volbeat. You know, Live Aquaria was the place to go for info about fish. Absolutely. I used to use them all the time. Little bridge. Yeah, I can see a crowd getting drunk to this still. Yeah, absolutely. And this is the second one. Is it? G. You're talking about drinking. Can't go wrong with that. I'm in love with the wild Irish fiddle. Let it tell, let it laugh, let it cry in the middle of the smoke and the songs and the spill of the night. Wild Irish fiddle. D again. So it's at the 3 chord? I'm not familiar with the Irish progressions as much. It's usually major. Yeah, the first. Well, that's why they always do too, because you don't know which one you're gonna like. I think I like the first one better too. It's like Yngwie on fiddle. It's Liam. It's Liam Malmsteen. Is it C sharp? I'm hearing D. Yeah, so yeah, it's a 1564. Oh, nice. That's fast, huh? That's a much shorter. Yeah, 2 minutes and 4 seconds versus 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Yeah, DGA, which is basically 145, but I was hearing the 6 chord in there too. I was hearing B minor. You know? Yeah, exactly. Patty McMalmsteen. Exactly. Yeah, Chris Daughtry, again, another famous Irish singer. Yeah, it's fun. Exactly. You know that's the whole point of the AF stuff is you whip it up so fast, and that's why to bring it back to NAMM, that's why NAMM might be in trouble because it's just so much faster. Also, from what I can see, Suno lowered their prices, so they were $24 when I checked the other day from my friend. Because he's like, you know, I might buy into this for a month or two. How much is it? And I said, I think it's $29.99 a month. Because I saved a little bit by paying for the year. But when I checked it, it was $24 a month, which is a lot less. And you can save, I think they said $76 on the year. So let me just get a quick calculator here. So $24 a month times 12 months is $288, and then they said you save $76 if you get it a year at a time, minus 76. Yeah, $212. That's cheaper than what I paid. I paid, I think, $280 because it was based on $29.99 a year. Let me just calculate that real quick. So $29.99 and times that by 12. Yeah, $359, and then it was like, yeah. And again, you subtract like $75. Yeah, $283. That's about what I paid. That sounds right. That sounds right. So I think I am locked into the higher price if they lower. You know, I paid for a year in advance, but I don't care. I've already got my money's worth and then some out of it. I friggin' love it. I use it all the time. You know, whip up, like someone said, you have it whip up a quick song. You can learn the melody, right? You can have it do, and like I said, am I going to make a freaking fiddle song here? No, but it's nice to like play along with a fiddle song and maybe learn some Irish fiddle riffs. You know, something I would never. I'm not going out and buying some Irish fiddle album. You know, I suppose I could find it on. Like Amazon Music, but that's a shot in the dark. You know, I feel like I can tailor it better like this, like literally tell it the key. And, you know, something like that. Waiting for AI to make a proper follow-up on Van Halen's 1984. Yeah. Yeah, see, that gets into what I think they settled with Warner, right? I think Suno, they have a deal with Warner. to use their catalog to train their models. You know, the reason why I wanted the higher one was because I wanted studio. And studio, it's not a, you know, it can be frustrating. It's not perfect, but it's a lot more interesting, I think, than just whipping up the prompts. But I find that's what I do most of the time anyway. Because, you know, I very rarely, like the other day I had a friend over and we did that. We went in the studio when we pulled it all in and, you know, we did all that stuff. But I would say the best unsolicited ad for Suno was John Oates with that country guy, right? He's hired by a country guy. They write a scratch track. He's a hired gun to go there and write a song. They write a scratch track, vocals and guitar. They write down a little chart so that they have it. And at the end of it, Oates asks him, so do you want to make a demo? Because thinking he would rent a studio, bring in, right? He'd book a studio, bring in some studio guys, take a day or two. They'd put together the song and make a demo that they can shop around. And the guy goes, yeah, let's make the demo right now, and pulls his phone out of his pocket. And of course, Oates is dying. He's like, but he's a hired gun. So, you know, you're hired to sort of go along with it. So he says, oh yeah, sure. So they upload the song to Suno, and he tells it what he wants. He wants like close mic'd vocals and widespread harmonies and dry drums. He goes and it chugged for a couple of minutes, and it spit out a song that was really, really good. Scary good. He goes, and the scariest part was, at one point in that song, I play a G minor 9 chord, and they substituted, the only chord they changed, they substituted a G dominant 7, and I couldn't help but admit, it was better. Yikes. So, that's probably the greatest unsolicited ad I've ever seen for Suno. Twisted and Poison were the worst products from the 80s. Well, I think a lot of people would disagree. Certainly Dee Snider would disagree, considering he's had a lifetime of earnings off of 2 songs. Right? You're like, he's like, sure, okay. I keep selling that song over and over and over again to all kinds of commercial entities, but sure. Tony says, I saw that. I thought Oates was going to slam it, but no. Yeah, he couldn't help. The guy was being honest. He's like, yeah, I wanted to slam it, but I couldn't. It was actually pretty damn good. And it's going to hurt. Like my friend who was over the other day, he's like, jingles, scores, right? Songs to go along with movies, things like that. Those are going to be the hardest hit, without a doubt. You still need to schlep somebody out on stage who's a performer. And people still want to go see live music. So it's not going to replace that anytime soon, that I can see. People still want to go have a night out. But it's the unseen music, the studio musician that goes in to a John Oates session and cuts a demo for a modern country artist he's been hired by them, and now they're putting together some song that but the artist can shop around. That's where this is all going. Those guys are in more trouble than Taylor Swift, who is right. It's a performance. So, speaking of performances, did you guys see the Grammys last week? Kind of bummed me out that rock has been just completely decimated. They really don't do it. Rock has showed up pretty much in the prime time, not the prime time, the daytime Grammys, where, you know, it's been given, you know, the lower, it's like where the spoken word comedy album, you know, a jazz instrumental, and you know, all those are it's been stuck down there. So it's kind of, you know, it just goes to show you the sign of the times. It's all pop. It really is. And then I would say the best performance of the night was the opening performance with Rose doing, what's that, APT, and Bruno Mars. That was a great performance. I didn't really see a great performance after that. I can't think of another single performance of the night that was, you know, really all that compelling. So it was, again, sort of a sign of the times. You know, so I usually, what I do is when I watch the Grammys, I record it. Right, it goes from like 8 to like 11:30 or 12, right? So I record it and I extend it by like 60 minutes because they always run late. I don't start watching it until about 10 p.m. because it's a lot of fast forwarding over all commercials, fast forwarding over, you know, a lot of awards and stuff like that. It's like I just don't care. I'm there to see the performances, and I have seen some pretty decent performances. I guess it was years ago now, but I remember Brian Wilson, and they had a bunch of great people out there. Oh man, they sounded great. Cher seemed a little out of it. She seemed like zero fucks given, and it kind of reminded me of Elizabeth Taylor, who was going to read the nominees by opening the envelope and go, the nominees are, and they're screaming, no, that's the winner. Like, they're like screaming at her from the audience. And finally, Dick Clark came out with the headset on. He's like, whoa, hold up. And they read the nominees, and she gave the winner. But yeah, man, she seemed a little flustered, maybe a little pissed off about something. You know, I thought the tribute to Ozzy was pretty good, but I felt like their camera angles were off. A number of times, the person who was being memorialized, their name was partially obscured by someone's head. It's like, can you not, like, who set these camera angles up? It felt a little. And then when they went through the first tune and I didn't see Ace, I said, oh, they got to be doing something else. And then when Ozzy started going, I said, they'll show Ace. But they showed Ace very quickly. You know, it was like just a few seconds of screen time. What's interesting is Nuno Bettencourt won his first Grammy for his live performance of Changes with Youngblood, which I said, I thought that was one of the best performances of that show. That and the Steven Tyler performance. But they're like, Steven Tyler's too old. Steven Tyler should have won that for best live performance, but they wound up giving it to Youngblood for Changes, which was a fantastic, I thought, the second best performance of that show. Yeah, I didn't even know half the artists. And, you know, a lot of it feels like a lot of like performance art, right? Where it's like this whole like theme. Like, whatever. You know who was at my local Star Market was Cardi B. Cardi B and what's his name there? Stefan Diggs. They don't live too far away from here. They live in the expensive part of town. No great performer. I like him better than his band. Yeah, you know, first of all, he's super musical. He was Rihanna's band director, right? He was the musical director for her touring band for at least a few years It was Nuno, who was basically the guy who whipped the whole band into shape and got them practicing. So he's got the musical chops, to pull that off. He's not just some flashy guitar player. He knows his stuff. I know Star Market. Look, he doesn't have to shop at the Market Basket exactly. You don't have to save money at the Big Y or at Market Basket. No. They got Star Market money. Oh, oh well. Casey Kasem. Is Casey Kasem buried yet? They were freaking dragging that body around for a while. Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on with that, but that was crazy. I mean, that they wouldn't bury him for some reason. I think there was a big family dispute. They were playing hide and seek with his freaking body. Oh, really? Sherman Hemsley, the same thing? Yeah. A lot of times it's just a bunch of friggin' family fighting. Steve Morse knows this. Oh, he definitely does. Steve Morse is real good. Yeah, it was something with the kids in the estate, I'm pretty sure, yeah. It was weird. Really weird. It was like really, really weird. Isn't that weird? Yeah, no, Kasem was the voice of Shaggy. He was. Is Ted Williams, is his head still in the cryogenic? Which is such a, it's such a grift. You talk to any biologist and they would say when they bring that head back, the crystals that have formed inside, right? Because your flesh will crystallize, right? The moisture in you're 70% water. The moisture in your muscles and in all your tissue will just tear apart. It'll be like wet toilet paper, right? It's like never coming back. And so it's just preying on people who don't want to die. And listen, nobody wants to die, but at some point you will. Death is inevitable. So it just always felt like it's just a total grift. Yeah, Futurama figured it out. Because it's a cartoon. Yeah, exactly. The cell walls are destroyed. So, also the paradox of life is that it only exists through death, right? The only way life continues is by the consumption of other life. Oh. You'd have a very different life if you were facing like nonstop predation. Like, you could leave your house and be worried about being consumed alive before you got home. You'd have a very different outlook on life. But that pretty much is life's paradox. Life only survives through death, the consumption of other life. Yeah, exactly. Austin Powers is the only one that ever came back. They never did find John Denver's head? Really? Did he do the same thing? And then they lost it? I wouldn't doubt it. It's just such a grift. It really is. It's like you're just preying on, desperate people. It's pretty sad, actually. Throw me a freaking bone here. Hey, caveman lawyer. Your bright lights, they frighten me. I don't understand your complex ways, but I do know a third-party promissory note is unenforceable as of statute. He would have some crazy. Your bright lights, they frighten me, but then he'd have But of course, an adverse possession claim cannot be properly brought by a family member. Oh, interesting. So John Denver went down in an experimental plane in the ocean, and the crash decapitated him. Well, I don't think we don't have to think too hard about what happened. His remains were almost certainly consumed by something in the ocean. Now you're fish food. I didn't hear about that. Dee Snider resigning from Twisted Sister and canceling all of his Twisted Sister 50th anniversary shows. Is it because he's having trouble singing it and he doesn't want to sing it? Or is it just a falling out with like JJ French or something like that? Get the coffee. Get out of there, you. I shot the Monday's video today. Very different from this guitar. Actually, if I think really hard, maybe not all that different, but pretty different. Yep, killer whales, killer sharks, killer everything. Health reasons, okay. Well, that doesn't sound good. You found out JJ French is Italian. Here you think you're pouring French dressing on your salad. Turns out it was Italian the whole time. You son of a bitch! Oh no, Native Instruments isn't in limbo. Native Instruments is friggin' filing bankruptcy. It pisses me off. I just got a Native Instruments keyboard about a year ago. So I feel like the support's going to go to... And you know, and another thing about Native Instruments, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but maybe I'll mention it now. You know, they bought up Isotope. And I had friends at Isotope. And Isotope was a great company. Isotope was doing great. I've been to Isotope's Cambridge office on Hampshire Street. It was just bustling. It was I friggin' wished I worked there. It was so awesome. And you know, they got bought up by IK Multimedia. And I'm sorry, they got not IK by Native Instruments. And you know, they shuttered the office. And maybe you could get a job out in California, or maybe not. And you know, it just sucks. You know, it seems like they dumped the people, they kept the IP, and now they're in trouble. And they're gonna freaking go under. And they're saying, I think it's Akai is most likely the buyer for their IP, because they have some new is that MPC? Is that their big console there, the MPC? They just came out with a new one, and it's got tight integration with NI, with Native Instruments. So I think that it would be the most logical buyer. But yeah, they grew out. They bought a bunch of companies. They grew too fast. They couldn't slash costs fast enough, and now they're in bankruptcy. Yeah. It's a story as old as time. Used to have an email beef with Native Instruments over guitar rig. Yeah, I used to have a beef with a couple of companies. Native Instruments got better because I think they were feeling the heat. IK Multimedia, though, man, they were giving me the hardest time about firmware updates. I'm like, how is that firmware worth anything to anyone if you don't have the product? And they're like, we only support people that bought it new. I'm like, that's a terrible policy. And probably ripe for a class action suit. And then they sent me the files. But man, I was pissed. It's like, come on. I don't want a free version of friggin'... I don't want a free version of, you know, Cubase Lite. I don't care about that. I want firmware updates, drivers, and editor librarians. Anything that, if you don't have the hardware, you don't need it. Why would you even have it? You wouldn't, right? It's worthless without the hardware. That's the, you know, the bare minimum that they should offer, but they're like, no, it's behind the big registration wall. That's why I didn't like Nectar. Nectar put everything behind this massive registration wall. And I just thought, you know, that's a terrible way to do business. You should just be, if my Korg needed an update, I could just go to Korg and just download the update. Don't even have to register. Just download it and install it. You know why? Because the update is worthless unless you have the friggin' hardware. It's absolutely worthless. So, it really, yeah, it really was frustrating. I wish they would have upgraded Guitar Rig more. It felt like they had really abandoned it for a while, and then they came back. But the reality is that companies like Tonex and THU are sort of eating their lunch. Much better product. And they spent all this time finally coming out with, what was it, like Guitar Rig 6 or 7? And it really wasn't that big of an update. It was kind of the same old. Yeah, we have better graphics now. It's like, oh, okay. I think they're all in a little bit of trouble because of what is that? Neural amp modeling, NAMM, which is an open source. Ugh. Nothing is like the kiss of death than friggin' a really good open source product. That's why OBS, I'm going through OBS, which is open source. And, people are like, why would we even enter the market if you can just get it for free? I know they'll want to do like subscription-based drivers. Oh, it's a gank. I really hate that. Yeah, IK Multimedia, their updates are 2 or 3 gigs. Oh yeah, I needed to like enable my hardware. I got the keyboard. The keyboard didn't work. They're like, download the driver with your special thing. I was like, well, okay, here's my serial number. They're like, not that serial number. You have a special card with a software number in it. I was like, oh, come on, no. I'm giving you the serial number off the hardware. They're like, yeah, that's worthless. No. You have a software registration card. I said, well, what I could do is I could just buy it brand new off of Amazon, pull that registration card off, create an account, stick that back in the thing, and return it to Amazon for a full refund. Should I just do that? They're like, we'll get you the software. Yeah, I thought so. If everybody just did that, if everyone who bought a used Native Instruments product just bought a brand new one off of Amazon or Sweetwater, then said, you know what? Doesn't meet my eco needs. I'm going to send it back. You make up some bullshit excuse to send it back. Yeah, no. I got what I needed. I got the registration card you guys are keeping from me. Okay, now I'm registered. Remember, the serial number on the unit is never even entered. But it's like when I got that Native Instruments, they were like, I had to like enable my like hardware enabling. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Is this a piece of hardware or what? They're like, well, it's sort of a hybrid. Like, ridiculous. And email beef with Framus too. Framus wasn't really showing at NAMM any longer. They used to have an enormous booth, but I feel like they're focusing on Warwick and Spectre. Right? They're the 2 big brands. They're obviously the creator of Warwick, and they're the distributor for Spectre. I know cars are coming out with subscriptions, but they've tried that a little bit, and it was met with a lot of opposition. So we'll see. Everybody wants to be in a subscription model. You have Tonex and like the software. Exactly, but you have to use their product manager to be able to download it. It's like, again, people don't want to do that. That's why, like Glenn Fricker was saying, you're driving us to piracy. If you make it too hard for us to get this going, it's just much easier just to go up on, the torrent sites and just download the cracked version. Then it installs immediately and I don't have to go through all this bullshit. Should we just do that? Huh? How hard do you want to make it? How many hurdles do we have to jump over before we say, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to go download the pirated one. Because it's a lot easier. I'm just tired of this nonsense. Yeah, neural amp modeler is the way. I tell you, it is. It's frightening to a lot of vendors out there because it's open source. Just like OBS. I'm using OBS now. You're soaking in it. Yeah, you want a fuel gauge? That's a subscription. You want a speedometer? That's a subscription. Exactly, the Pirates of Shred. I know, that's where it's heading. You know, don't make it too hard. Because people will just say, it's not worth it. I can just sandbox it and make sure there's no viruses and then go from there. I know record companies didn't adopt to the internet, and look what happened to them. They've been kind of decimated too. Yeah, the heated seats, the remote start, they were subscription stuff. I think that's what it was it Volvo that did it? Or VW? Someone did it. Someone did a subscription for like heated, like you say, like heated seats or something like that. He bought a Philips Framus. He emailed me and said it was eligible for a 5-year extended warranty, and then after registered, they pulled in. Yeah. Was it BMW that did it? Yeah. Going through a printer and saga with HP. Yeah. I luckily I haven't been through that, but I tend to stay away from the like the ink. I tend to use laser printers. I tend to use Brother because it just seems to work. Brother and Samsung, which was awesome, and then they exited the market after about 18 months. I'm like, you guys, you're making me crazy here. Samsung does that all the time. They get in, they go, no, actually, we don't want to be here, and they exit the space. It's crazy. Yeah, people are ditching Windows and going to Linux. You know, if you're just browsing the internet, sure, but you know, if you rely on certain pieces of software, there is no going to Linux. And you know, Linux just doesn't have the hardware support. But Windows is slowly turning into just a giant ad machine, and that is just crazy. It's like, come on, guys. How can you guys be so hurting for money when you have the money that I have friends that pay for Office, 365 and what's the other thing? Azure, like cloud services. But my wife's last work, they were all Google. You know, they just went with Google. I'm sure saved a lot of money by doing so. Use Azure, it's your biggest expense, yeah. No, my buddy who was over the other day, he said we pay through the nose. Hey, you know who's also had quite a fall from grace is Cisco. He said they were so crazy expensive. He goes, would put together a Cisco video conferencing room. He goes, it would cost us like 35, 40 grand. Oh, you need the camera, $4 grand. And of course, you're going to need that router. That's 15 grand. He was like, by the time you bought everything that was necessary to put it all together, he goes, we were literally spending like 35, 40 grand. He goes, now we're all Zoom, and it's like 10, 15% of what we used to spend. And, you know, money will drive. Everyone works off incentive. And when you're incentivized to, to save that amount of money, people will switch. They're like, okay, Cisco, see ya. And Cisco was just absolutely the king for a while. But I feel like they're fallen from grace quite a bit. Almost as much as me crypto. Wait long enough and your crypto will be worth nothing. Microsoft and Adobe kill you with their subscriptions. Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. Especially if you got, 1,000 people, you need 1,000 licenses. Even if it's just 100 or 200 for Adobe, that adds up. Everybody wants a subscription model. Your company dropped Cisco video conferences like a rock. Yeah. No, it got prohibitively expensive. I've never heard of Cloudbot or Moltbook now. You dropped Adobe for PDF and now do Kofax or Tungsten. Yeah. That's what happens. If what you invite, if you get too expensive, is people say, well, there's money to be made now. Can we bring this product to market for half the amount? A third of the amount, 25% of the amount that the top, company is charging. And if we can, because we don't have, giant friggin' flying saucer offices that we have to, pay for. As long as, we can still be profitable, they're going to come in and they're going to just undercut those big companies. I've never played a Gibson Midtown, but that's the factory made semi-hollow. I haven't heard good things because they say it's not, because it's not made in the custom shop where I think all the other semi-hollows are made. I haven't heard great things. Tailpipe tater for Suno? Well, maybe. Everyone uses Teams, yeah, Microsoft Teams. It's one of the first things I delete on a new install. They install all this new crap. You have to turn off suggestions, and then what you kind of have to do is download like Power Toys and or Win Toys, whatever it's called there, and you can just say I'm under the Denmark. There's something that came out in the EU that allows you to delete the undeletable, like Bing. Like Bing is built right into Windows 11. It's like, I don't want Bing. Bing sucks. So you want to dump it, and you can't. It's grayed out if you're in the U.S., but in the UK or I guess in the European Union, you can dump it. So you just have to say, yeah, I'm from there. And all of a sudden, they switch whatever it takes inside, and now you can uninstall my, what was it? It's like, is it on this machine? I forget if I deleted it from this one. What is it called? No, I must have killed it. It's like the Windows, like, start menu enhancer. Oh, is it enhancing it? That's like when YouTube tries to tell me to run mid-roll ads because it optimizes the user experience. Oh, does it? Oh, does running ads optimize the user experience? Like, in what world are you living? Steve, what do you think of the Squire Paranormal series? I don't know if I ever had one here. I like Squire, though. Every Squire I've had here has always been pretty decent. You know. Yeah, I don't know how Microsoft lost their way, but like Linus Tech Tips would tell you, there's no limit to corporate greed. And the bottom line is that, you know, what's the line from The Simpsons, from Mr. Burns? Homer goes, "You're the richest man I know." He goes, "Oh, yes, I'm very wealthy, but you know, I'd trade it all for a little more." Yeah, exactly. It optimizes hate for ads. That is good. Squire Paranormal, they make a 12 string. Do they really, Jazzmaster? Not a huge offset guy, but yeah, well, it optimizes the revenue stream. It optimizes something, just not for you. Have a good one, Eli. Schlitz, really? Corporate greed? Is that what finally killed off Schlitz? Not that horrible name? Oh yeah, they're like a mashup, like the old Paranormals. I know, right. I know what you're saying. You have to see, because remember, I work off the open box and all the return stuff, because you know, it keeps their costs down. And I feel like if I was using new guitars every week and constantly sending back new guitars as used, that they'd call it quits pretty quickly. They'd be like, "Oh, we can't send you so much gear. We just can't do it." So I've been trying to work off all the returns. Not all of them, but I'd say only about a half dozen guitars and the 80-something guitars we've had for Guitar of the Week have been absolutely brand new. Everything else has been an open box. Have a good one, speaker. Yeah, my God, it's almost 9. Oh, my family, my parents, and like my grandmother and all them, they drank Schlitz. They absolutely, Schlitz was the beer, and and one of them drank Black Label. I don't even know if they're still around. Remember Black Label beer? Used to drink that like crazy too. But all right, guys, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to call it a night. You guys have a wonderful week. Check out Monday's guitar. I shot that today. A lot of fun. Got that done. And there you go. I might have another NAMM video this week, but I'm not really sure if I do. And if you missed out on that Vola video, the Vola here, actually this one of these models here, and the Vasti I just did, they're on like a clearance sale. They're unfortunately they're ending that model in the lineup. They have two models they're ending, and they're clearing them out. And you won't get an MIJ guitar for under $800 brand new, even under $1,000 brand new. The next cheapest one, MIJ Fender, like $1,600, and all the MIJ Jackson, Charvel, EVHs, they're between $2,000 and $3,500. So I don't think I did a Sully NAMM video. I think I went back and he was a little busy, and I left a day early, right? So I didn't really have it planned. But yeah, the Oz and the Vasti. Not every Oz. They make a bunch of different Oz's, but the Oz MC, like that one there, basically the lowest cost Oz and the Vasti are gonna go, which is I know exactly crazy for an MIJ $800 brand new. It really is. But all right, dudes, you guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you in a week. You guys have a great week, and we will do it again in a week. All right. You guys have a good night. I'm out of here.